There's a lot of dumbass criminals to talk about, baby. It's the whacked out news. People breaking the law. Ha ha, fighting in the nude. Ha, drunk people pooping in the street. Ha ha, it's the whacked out news. So many people on meth. Ow!
It's one of those crazy kind of South Florida stories where there is more mystery than there is answers right now. But the gruesome discovery that happened in Key Biscayne, as covered by NBC6.
Discovery on the shore of Key Biscayne. Police say a human head was found by a person raking the beach just after 8:30 a.m. near the condos at Key Colony.
Oh my gosh, Can you imagine you're raking the beach and you rake up a head?
First of all, I'm not a great raker. And then second of all, if I was to find a head while doing so,
oh my goodness,
I don't think I'm ever the same.
No.
Never rake again.
Never.
Yeah.
I would never rake again.
I'm hanging up my rake.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Detectives say the head washed ashore.
Whoever found it, that had to be very horrifying.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think that has any reflection on Key Biscayne.
Investigators are working with a medical examiner to determine the identity of the individual and are not ruling out any scenario. They are looking into missing persons cases and also whether or not foul play was involved.
Somebody fell overboard, could be a drug dealer, could be an immigrant. No idea.
More questions than answers.
Wow. Okay, well, that just one of those things you never know what you're going to find on a beach in South Florida.
You just don't.
You really don't. Honestly, walking along the beach, it's a mystery.
And I wonder, too, when people walk up on a dead body like that, and that one's a little bit different because it's so, you could probably prove you were not involved at all. But if you're in the woods and you're a jogger and you find a dead body, are you nervous to call the cops? Because are they going to say, oh, found the body, Ralston. What did you have to do with it? Do you automatically become a suspect to the police when you're the person that calls in a dead body?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they look at, okay, who is this person? Where were they? I think a lot of times that they assume that people call in things that they weren't involved with. And if I had a good alibi and I knew where it was, I would think more about getting the police here right away.
Just believe it or not, there have been murderers who've called in the dead body to act like they're the ones that discovered it. And that's why I wonder that question.
That has happened. He's right.
Yeah.
But hopefully you would get in there and say, give me a lie detector test. I didn't have anything to do with this dead body.
Well, supposedly that's what happened to Ashton Kutcher. He went to go see his girlfriend, supposedly looked in the window, saw blood, saw a leg, but they also found fingerprints on that doorknob, supposedly. So he might have walked in and saw it and said, I can't get involved. And there's reports of him saying, I don't want to get involved. So I think it does happen.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, I find a head on the beach, I'm calling the authorities.
You got to.
Me too.
Another horrific find here. Derek Sink was reported missing on Sunday. Apparently the last place he went was a Planet Fitness to hit up the tanning bed. And they found him 3 days later after he entered the gym.
But that tan, though.
Yeah.
He's in there for 3 days?
Wait, he stayed in the tanning bed for 3 days?
He was
died.
in the gym. They only found him by the smell.
Does no one clean up the gym? We don't check the tanning
Don't
bed?
know where he was, how they didn't notice him for that amount of time. It's a Planet Fitness.
I've got questions about this. How do you not find a dead body in a tanning bed area for 3 days?
They said he had drug issues. A needle was found in the room, so they assume it's an overdose.
Still doesn't matter why they didn't find him for 3 days.
And the other thing that helped them find him was his ankle monitor.
Oh.
Smell and ankle monitor. Yeah, wow. I don't know how you just disappear in a Planet Fitness in Indianapolis for 3 days.
Dog, they're supposed to spray down the tanning bed every time someone leaves.
Great question. Yeah, I don't know.
Huh, that's an odd story.
That is odd.
Yeah, a lot of these stories you got a lot of questions about. And there was another story that we're starting to get more details on, covered from a week or so ago. Remember Peanut the squirrel? That lovely squirrel that had lost its mother, and this guy raised it for 6 years. The squirrel lived inside. It was his companion, and also Fred the raccoon. And then State investigators came in and raided the place to see if they had the proper paperwork. And then while they did the raid, Peanut the squirrel got freaked out and bit one of the people. And so they euthanized Peanut the squirrel.
A terrible story.
And they said, we had to because Peanut probably had rabies. Well, they did the testing. Peanut or Fred did not have rabies.
Wow.
Yeah. And documents now reveal that officials had already planned to seize and euthanize Peanut and Fred a week prior, contradicting their whole explanation as to why they did it in the first place.
Why are they such jerks?
And liars, it sounds like.
Yeah, the jerks, liars. This is the kind of stuff, honestly, and this Mark Longo is going to sue, and he should win with what is coming out, and it needs to let these state and federal agencies know that if you're going to go in and disrupt somebody that has rights to do this kind of stuff, that you're going to have to pay the price. I hope they lose their ass on this.
Poor Peanut was just probably defending his owner.
Yeah.
Because that's his owner and he's a pet.
Yep.
And he probably bit the guy because the guy was trying to like grab at him and
Yep.
he was scared.
My head's still in the tanning bed story. I
Got a lot here today. There's a lot.
You made us think, Kevin.
You've made us think a little too much.
Gave us nightmares.
A lot in this whacked out news.
There is.
It's very whacked out.
And we'll never rake again.
There's a man who has shared online that his wife divorced him after discovering he voted for Donald Trump for president. He expressed disbelief in his post on how quickly he received the papers from her and was frustrated that she still refused to discuss it. She demanded that he buy her out of their home worth $300,000 with a recent addition. He says he can't even afford it.
Oh, wow.
Something tells me this relationship is going to fall apart.
Yeah, they were probably already on shaky ground. And
Right.
This is just another reason why you shouldn't tell people who you voted for. Especially if you know your wife voted for the other candidate.
Yeah.
Or you can talk to people and not try to kill each other over who you voted for.
They probably already hated each
They
other
hated each
before
other.
the election.
It could have been a solid, yeah. That's absolutely insane. If you're in a loving relationship that you would divorce somebody based on who they voted for, it's pretty crazy. Of course, you might imagine the post had a lot of intense debate from both sides.
Oh, that sounds like a fun read I'll never get involved in.
So I'm saving you time. A 33-year-old guy in the UK got arrested after a group of women he met at a club joked that he must have tiny junk, so he flashed them just to prove what he was packing. And apparently that's what got him arrested, and also the drugs he had on him at the time.
You can't do that, dude.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, I can't do
It got away from him.
Mm-hmm. An alleged cigarette smuggler got caught trying to cross the Paraguay-Argentina border while disguising his merchandise in a floating plant. Officials report that the suspect had been pushing 200 packs of rodeo king-size smokes under mesh-covered leaves. The suspect allegedly swam in a wetsuit underneath the strange plant. Nobody had ever seen a plant like that floating.
Scuba Steve?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they're like, well, what is that plant? And it's moving fast.
It's swimming.
So they plunked the plant out of the water, and here's the guy attached to it underneath.
Oh, that sounds like a Scooby-Doo
It
episode.
does, yeah. They're now calling him Aquaman, and they say he's in custody in Argentina. There is a fire station in Texas that actually, ironically, caught fire while the firefighters were out fighting an actual emergency call. It looks like the fire started in the station's kitchen, which I can imagine. They
Oh.
like to cook a lot. Probably somebody didn't tend to the fire, and they burnt down the fire.
Do you
That
still have to slide
sucks.
down the pole if it's at the station?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think they were off premise
they
when
were.
it happened. They didn't even know their crib was on fire.
No, they came back, place burnt down.
That is ironic and horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And how about this for possible government overreach as well? A mom in rural Georgia is facing charges after her 11-year-old son walked into town alone. Oh my gosh. Back on October 30th, she took her other kid to a doctor's appointment and thought her son was playing in the woods on their farm, but he actually decided that he was going to walk into town without telling anybody. This random woman sees him on the side of the road. The speed limit's only 35, so it's not like a major highway. It's a relatively pedestrian path. And she asked if the kid was okay. He's like, yeah, I'm fine. But she calls the cops anyway.
Oh, boy.
Then the mom gets a call from the cops saying, hey, yeah, we picked up your kid. And she's like, oh, okay. Well, he's fine. They go, well, you know, he could have been hit by a car or kidnapped. She's like, okay, but he wasn't. He's fine. She's like, he's plenty mature enough. We don't worry about it. Later that night, the cops will come back and they arrest her, cuff her in front of her 3 kids.
Oh, my.
She's looking at a year in jail now.
This doesn't sound right to me.
What the hell is going on
I know
here?
a lot of 11-year-olds that are allowed to kind of go mill around.
They say they'll consider dropping the charges if she agrees to sign something that says that another adult would be a safety person and keep an eye on her son when she's not at home. So they're saying, well, we don't trust you to leave your kid alone at the age of 11. She'd also have to put an app on his phone to track his location. And she said, you know what? No, you can kick rocks. And she hired an attorney.
Good for
I
her.
think she's gonna win. I don't think that's illegal.
It's absolutely insane. Again, with the overreach. You know what?
Overreach.
Don't tell me how to parent my dang kid. I mean, we live in you don't understand country folk either.
That's
That's what happens.
My dad grew up in the backwoods of Pennsylvania,
Right.
and he tells me that's how people are raised.
Yeah.
But age 8, he's in the woods by himself.
You go
building
off
forts and-
wherever. Yes, that's just what country folk do. You walk into town. I remember being 6 or 7. I was going into town by myself. It's crazy.
That seems weird to me.
Well, there you go. That is a very action-packed, whacked-out news today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
It was a lot in there. I know.
I have to excuse myself.
Yes.